They came up with an excuse for losing an election. This should never happen to another president, because most presidents wouldn't be able to take it. I know the politicians, I know the president, I know what we're dealing with. Most people wouldn't be able to take it. Let me tell you something, Maria. What happened to me should never happen to another president of the United States, because I depend on this right here, mind, not other people.
President Trump weighing in on the Russia investigation as Washington awaits the Robert Mueller report. The president telling Maria Bartiromo he has been mistreated in the process. Kim Strassel is a Wall Street Journal editorial board member and a Fox News contributor. Kimberly, good morning to you. The president obviously showing his frustration there with this ongoing process.
Yeah, well, good morning, Sandra. And look, I think the president has a point here. If you think about this, the FBI first started looking to him in the spring of 2016, so we are 3 years into this of ceaseless headlines and accusations from Congress, from the media. And yet we have not had a single congressional committee, a single news outlet, or the FBI itself who has ever managed to marshal any evidence of the claims that have been speculated all this time. So it's going to be very important when Mueller puts this report out. Hopefully it draws a line under it. Although I do think there's going to be plenty more still to learn when all of the documents from this entire escapade get released and people see how this actually got started in the first place.
The president went on in that interview, Kimberly, to talk about just how poorly he feels he's been treated in the process. Listen.
They have treated me so viciously. They have treated me so badly, and we did nothing wrong. You look at the others, and all of these people you hear about, that had nothing to do with Russia collusion, nothing. It's all a big hoax. It's a witch hunt, and it's a hoax.
And I know in your most recent piece, Kimberly, in the Wall Street Journal, what FBI's counsel told Congress, you say and this is how you start the piece, one big problem with the Trump-Russia investigation is that the facts continue to be released in dribs and drabs. And I know you go on to make the case as to why this is so important that it becomes public and the American people do see it in its entirety.
Yeah, I mean, think about this entire thing from beginning. It's everything that we have been told may have happened or speculated to happen. It's come either from leaks from the media, from former Obama administration officials, from people high up levels in government who you can tell do not like this president, have an interest in hurting the administration. It's come from media speculation, but none of it has come from any concrete evidence. And so we get these competing narratives and we don't get the facts. And the House, for instance, last year, at the end of last year, conducted a number of very important interviews with key players in the beginning of this to do with the dossier, to do with the FBI and its initial investigation. They have been slowly releasing some of the transcripts, but we need to see all of them. And likewise, we need the president himself to declassify those documents, the FISA application against Carter Page and others, so that we can get a holistic picture of what exactly happened and how this started.
I know you end the piece with "It's past time America's got the full story," and I hear you calling for that. There are bipartisan calls for this report to be made public. Republicans and Democrats, the president even. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic congressman from New York, was on with us earlier making a similar push. Here he is.
The House just voted 420 to 0 to make sure that when Bob Mueller completes his work and finishes his report, that report can be seen by the American people. Whether the report exonerates the president, implicates the president, or somewhere in between, the American people deserve transparency.
So, Kimberly, is the Wall Street Journal to have any reporting on when we may finally see the report or who has seen it?
This is a $30 million question. Nobody knows. Look, there's a lot of speculation it could drop today, but I think that that's based largely on the fact that the special counsel's office and often the Department of Justice have a habit of leaking things or putting things out on a Friday. I do just want to temper some expectations, too. Remember, when this report actually gets transmitted to Attorney General Bill Barr, we're not allowed to see the contents of it. It's a confidential report under Department of Justice guidelines, and Mr. Barr actually has ultimate authority over whether or not it's made public.
So I guess we are left to wait and see, because you're suggesting that if he decides to make it public, it could be filled with redactions.
It could be filled with redactions. He also has the option of providing a summary to Congress rather than the whole report. Look, but I think the president is right. The editorial board has also called for this. Put it all out there, but put everything out there. Don't just put out the Mueller report on its own. Put out all of those documents, declassify things. Let people see the shenanigans that played into the beginning of this so that we can follow the entire timeline to see where Mueller ultimately ended up.
The anticipation is surely building. Kimberly Strassel from the Wall Street Journal editorial board, thank you.